All In Sports Network. We love sports.
Coming to you from the land of brisket and barbecue, Lone Stars and Longhorns, this is All In Colts, presented by the Unstable Blues.
Welcome back in. The Colts could never really overcome an early pick six or the continued turnovers. We will give you our full analysis, including our Mayflower move and stars of the game. So, let's go. All In Colts.
Yes, I'm Kevin. This is my son, Liam. We are the Unstable Blues, happy to present All In Colts as part of the Rogue Media Sports Network.
Oh, yeah.
Here we are again for our weekly cathartic support group that, as this has become.
That is the Indianapolis Colts. Yep. One injury in this game, Bernard Ryman. So, really does suck. It did kind of show as well. Bordellini held his own. From what I saw, but whenever Ryman stepped out, kind of got a little worse. I mean, it wasn't terrible. It was already happening.
Wasn't terrible. I mean, keep in mind that means 3 rookies on the offensive line.
Yep.
That is one of the highest paid, and this season one of the best, top to bottom, run and pass blocking.
Yep.
And so credit again to Charlie Partridge. Sorry, that's defensive line. Tony Sperano Jr.
There you go.
Yep. My coach of the year from last year, on his continued success with his guys. So, yeah.
All right. Narrative.
Time for the narrative.
Yep.
It did not start well for the Colts with 2 interceptions, including a pick 6, and fans booing Flacco consistently.
Yeah, but the Colts fought back with Jonathan Taylor's big run leading to a field goal. So at this point, it's 10-3. So, I mean, not terrible. The defense is holding up strong. Bend, don't break. And
the well-balanced drive after the 4th down stop, leading to Tyler Goodson finally catching a pass to the left for a happy birthday touchdown.
Yep, 24 years old. Happy birthday, Tyler Goodson.
Yep.
EJ proceeded to intercept Josh Allen's very next pass, leading to another Matt Gay field goal and a 13-10 lead for the Colts. 13 unanswered points.
That's right. The Bills answered, though, with a Josh Allen touchdown after the Ronnie Harrison forced fumble on the kickoff that was determined to be recovered by the Broncos.
The Bills, not the Broncos.
The Bills, my bad.
Wrong hooved thing.
Yep, wrong hoofed. They will play them several weeks from now.
You texted me. You said you thought it was Grant Stewart who had it. And right on the replay, right after you said that, I saw it kind of bounce off his left hand. I'm like, I don't think he was in enough position to get that. And then there was so much fighting for the ball. There was a flag thrown, which they took back. I thought it was on the Bills. They took it back. I'm like, and then they give the Bills the ball, and I'm looking at it. I'm like, everything is going wrong for the Colts in this scenario. Like this certain play, you knock it out, you fall on it, but then the Bills end up having it. You get a flag thrown that's probably on the Bills, but then that gets taken back.
I don't know. I think that the flag was probably on the Colts, and so since they couldn't really determine who had the ball, they picked up the flag just as a kind of make-up call. Nothing makes up for a potential turnover, though.
Lamons had the ball at the end.
But Lamons was about the 11th guy to get in that pile, so Lamons didn't come out.
Whoever has the ball after the pile is who has it.
Whoever is determined to have it at the bottom when they.
And how do they determine that?
They peel enough bodies back that they can see who has it, and that's how they determine it.
Yeah, LeBron's had it. I don't know. Anyways.
Yep.
Then, after some field position and clock management chess, the Bills ended the half with the field goal and a 10-0 run with the halftime score 10-13. So only down a touchdown.
Yep. The second half saw the teams trade turnovers before the Colts turned it over on downs, almost in the red zone, going for it on 4th and 2.
Yeah, I don't mind the go for it call there, but I saw at least 2 options. Really quick, though. You got to make up your mind quick, because after 3 seconds, there was no one else because they had gotten in their positions. Downs had come across their mans, I think, switched, or he stayed with the guy, or he stayed with Downs. Whoever it was that was covering Downs kind of got a little bit lost for a split second. You throw that, Downs reaches out, it's a first down. Also, JT in the flat, JT's going to make something happen. He's going to fight and get you 2 yards. 2 options. Wasn't quick enough to make either of those.
Yeah, just don't like the call. Yeah.
I get it. It's bad field position. You're only down a touchdown, 10 points.
It's points versus no points.
Something.
Points versus no points. I get it if you're inside a yard, but once again, when you have Joe Flacco as your quarterback and you're going for it on 4th and 2 when you have pretty much a guaranteed field goal, even with Matt Gay, bad call. Bad call, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Continue.
The Bills turned that into an 8-minute, 10-play drive for a field goal and a 10-point lead, which makes it 23-13. At that point, if I was thinking to myself, I'm like, if they score a touchdown here, I think it's game. But they scored a field goal. I'm like, okay, there's a decent amount of time left. Score quick, field goal, touchdown, whatever it is, you're still in the game.
And I get it. I get it. And once again, I go back to my call of not going for it. That turned out to be a 6-point swing. You gave up 3 and you gave them 3.
Mm-hmm.
The Colts had the ball moving with the back-to-back first downs to Josh first downs and Adonai Mitchell. Came up with a big day. But Flacco's next pass was too high for Alec Pierce and off his fingertips and led to his 3rd interception of the game.
Yep. The Bills proceeded to go down and ice the game with the James Cook touchdown.
Pierce got a 50-50 touchdown at the end, but inconsequential as the Colts fell 30-20. The first 2-score loss this season.
Yep. More than a 1-possession game. It's kind of upsetting, but not as upsetting, I guess, as a 1-possession loss whenever you feel like you could have had it. Stat sheet.
That pick 6. I told you.
6 matters. Yep.
That loomed large the whole game.
And it wasn't even game. It wasn't even the first play of the game. It was we had stopped the Bills first.
Yep.
And then you throw a pick 6.
Yep.
Which in the grand scheme of things isn't as bad because you think about it, you're like, okay, maybe if the Bills would have just scored a touchdown, you kind of think that, then you go down and score your own. But the fact of the matter is you were on offense and you got a turnover, which busts people's mentality, and you didn't go down after that and go score a touchdown. You had to punt the ball. So
it's like in a drive when you want to stay ahead of the sticks, right? You got to keep up with your down and distances to keep the chains moving. This put them in a larger game sense behind the sticks all game. They were playing from behind all game, even when they were in the lead. They were playing from behind because of having to the effort to catch up takes more out of players.
It's true.
So
that's true. Very true. Stat sheet time. Joe Flacco went 22 for 30, 230 yards, 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions, and 1 fumble.
Yep.
4
Josh Allen.
turnovers.
You go ahead.
4 turnovers.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Josh Allen, on the other hand, he went 22 for 37, 280, and 2 interceptions. So, you compare the QBs. I understand, 2 more turnovers is 2 more turnovers, but not terrible percentages, not terrible yardages.
You also got to take, in my eyes, that touchdown does not count. It counted towards nothing except stats.
I totally agree.
So in reality, it's Joe Flacco. They threw for the same amount of passes, Joe Flacco threw for 50 less yards and had 2 more turnovers.
Yep.
So if you put those side by side, don't count the touchdown, then it looks pretty bad.
Percentage-wise, he was more efficient, though. But, yeah, I get it. Totally understand.
Yeah. His top receivers, Josh Allen's top receivers were Mac Hollins with 86 yards. He had a killer there at the end, caught a deep one. Thought we had.
Yep.
Latu was on his toes, on his heels.
Right
Thought
there.
we had him, and then Mac Hollins hauled in the ball, ran out of bounds. Really smart play by him.
Yep.
86 yards, 4 catches for Hollins, and of course Khalil Shakir with 6 receptions for 58 yards. So.
Yep. He has some killers too. Alec Pierce and Adonai Mitchell both ended with exactly 71 yards apiece. And Pierce had a touchdown.
Yeah, great outing from both of them. I wasn't expecting much, but then I heard Pitt was out. I'm like, okay, here's your chance. And Adonai performed. Way to go out there. I don't know if he dropped a ball. I think everything that came his way he caught, and if it was a bad pass, and that's not on him.
Yep.
So he performed really well. I think he
caught all of his targets. I'd have to look for sure, but yeah.
I think he had 6 receptions or something like that.
Yep.
Josh first downs added another 57 yards with him performing pretty well like normal.
Yep.
Dropped a touchdown pass though.
Yep. Jonathan Taylor had his 20th 100-yard game of his career as he ended with 21 rushes for 114 yards.
I said he needed to come up big. He did in the yardage game, but not in the touchdown game.
Yep.
I mean, you're on the goal line where JT scores. You're gonna load the box because that's what they're gonna try and do. I think there was one time where they ran the ball 3 times in a row on I think it was 2nd and 2, 3rd and 2, 4th and 2, and they were all runs to JT. He got it on 4th down, but they're all runs, and you can't just continue to run. If you don't get on 2nd and 2, try a play action.
Yep.
Because you're known for running the ball so much, people are more likely to bite on the play action. You play action, find someone else in the flat, find a tight end in the flat. Hardly use the tight ends.
One to Grantham.
Yep. One to Ogletree as well.
Mallory right there at the end.
Yep. James Cook on the other side of the ball had 80 yards on 19 carries, so no one had over 100 yards.
That's right.
That's good.
The Bills' defense was led by Dorian Williams and Terrell Bernard with 9 tackles apiece and 7 tackles from Taylor Rapp.
Yep. They also had 3 sacks, 4 quarterback hits, and 5 tackle for losses. I told you this in the moment. I was a little heated. I still agree with what I said, though. If you have AR in there, I'm not saying he's going to hit all the throws that Joe is missing, but he's extending plays, and he might be able to gain yards because he's a big guy. He can escape, and he can use his legs to extend the play, run for some yards, fake a run, hit a little toss to JT or tight end or someone. It's different if you have AR in there.
I totally agree. There may be some more of that talk later. Nick Cross had 12 tackles and 1 for a loss.
Yep. Zaire Franklin, the league leader. Don't know if he's still that, but we'll see. Had 9 tackles and a pass deflection.
Kenny Moore had an interception.
Really big interception. I was like, man, we just gave out the ball. We need something here. And then Kenny picks off. I'm like, yeah, I caught it. That's 2 weeks in a row where that's happened. They've got a turnover, and then we've gotten it right back.
Right next play. Yep.
Last week it was Nick Cross who got it.
Yep.
EJ Speed also had an interception, his first career interception.
And that came on a right off of a turnover as well, or a change of downs as well.
Yep.
And then Grove and Quiddy both each had a sack.
Yeah,
so that's
Grove's
good.
been performing really well recently.
Yep.
All right.
Time for the intangibles.
Yep.
What are some things that do not show up on a stat sheet that were the difference maker to you?
I feel like I don't know the exact time of possession, but it feels like they had more time with the ball.
It's 5 minutes difference.
Wait, did they have more?
5 minutes for them.
It felt longer.
Is way better than it has been in many games.
True. But you got to win the time of possession as well. Obviously, the turnover battle. Don't want to take that from you, but I mean, it's a pretty obvious one. They ran the ball, though. They ran the ball pretty well. Kept going.
But they did not continue and keep running the ball. I know
Run the ball is only half of it.
It's only half of it because there were only 5 rushing attempts in the second half.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Whenever JT had proven he knows how to get free, he did it once. Let him go again.
Now, I could tell that they played the defense different. But there was no adjustment to their adjustment. There was no counter adjustment by the Colts to the Bills' adjustment at halftime.
Yep.
They never once did a delay or a draw play, like I had said. Mm-hmm. Never once.
It's true. They did. The Colts did spread the ball really well. I don't think they did it enough because anytime that they were spreading the ball, they were moving down the field at a pretty decent pace. Then they would stop spreading it and then kind of get stuck. And then, in my opinion, the biggest one of the game is AR not being in there. If he's in there, I just think it's a different story. I think once Joe had those 2 interceptions, I get he played well after that. But that's kind of what you did with AR. It was just more towards the end of the game whenever he started not performing well and then you benched him. So why doesn't Joe get the same treatment then? Yes, it's in the middle of a game. But AR has been playing with the ones this season. He knows the playbook. And it throws in a thing that the Bills have to learn on the fly on how to and even in like certain scenarios, use AR kind of like the Saints use Taysom Hill. Throw him in on a 3rd and 5, something like that. Like
on that 4th and 2, if you really want to go for it, the best way to go for it is to put Anthony Richardson in there.
Mm-hmm.
Because you never know what you're going to get. Even if it's a handoff to Jonathan Taylor, it will open up more because of the threat.
Yep.
Of you have in his legs and his arm.
You have a 6'5", 255 pounds of pure athletic ability.
Yep.
And you are benching him.
Yep.
It's frustrating to me.
It is. Okay. I will add red zone efficiency. If you look at the actual stat of red zone efficiency, it's actually the same for each team, but you got to be better. You got to be better. As far as these are all still stats that are kind of out there. I'm going to give you this. They were flat. They were lifeless. They were uncreative. And I mentioned they had the inability to adjust.
Yep.
To me, those are all characteristics of a team that just doesn't want it enough, which Kenny Moore addressed in the locker room afterwards.
I'm not the type to sugarcoat it, honestly. If I don't think the urgency is there. I don't think the details are there, so I don't think the effort is there. And I don't see everything correlating from meetings to practice to the games, and it shows.
Is he talking about the offense there, defense, or just everyone?
He's talking about the team, but it's hard to imagine that he's talking about the defense at that point.
Yeah, because the defense played well.
The defense gave them every opportunity until the end, which at that point they're tired. You mentioned time of possession and how it felt like more. I think it was the timely nature that they used it, right?
Yeah.
From the third into the fourth quarter.
It's also
and then
that
right there in that last drive in the fourth quarter.
8-minute drive hurt.
Yep. Kenny Moore also went on to add this zinger at the end. Year to year, it's the same thing.
Sounds like he's not happy.
It sounds like what we've been saying.
Mm-hmm.
And what a lot of Colts fans have been addressing as well, hence the boos and things like that. Speaking of that, Flacco, no more Sacco. No more Joe Sacco. Just say no to Joe. Here is how Shane Steichen addressed it in his post-game press conference.
Until I say otherwise, right now, Joe's our guy right now.
Shane, he's had 6 turnovers last 2 weeks, 1 and 3 with him at the start of the season. Why is he still the guy?
Obviously, just a guy that's a veteran guy. Obviously, we've had 2 games that that he'd like to have back, but we'll keep battling through it and see where it goes.
Do you believe Joe still give you the best chance to win?
Yeah, right now.
And I guess, again, why is that?
Just his veteran leadership that he brings to our football team.
Joe's last 3 starts include your 2 lowest yardage outcomes of the season, and then today's 4 turnovers. So, at what point do you reassess if it's about trying to win right now?
Yeah, I think we look at everything every week. Right now I'll go back and look at the tape, but right now Joe's our guy.
You did say that you made this move in the interest of winning. I mean, he's 1 and 3 as a starter.
Yeah.
Does that not give you pause?
I understand. Like I said, I'm going to go back and look at everything, but right now that's where I'm at with it.
Now, I have a question I'd like to address to people as well.
First, I'd like to shout out those valuable members of the press asking those questions. James Boyd, love his stuff. Love his human questions, but he's also pressing a little hard. I like that. Nate Atkins and Stephen Holder from ESPN there. So go ahead. Your question.
My question is not necessarily to Shane, but kind of the reporters, or just as a broad scheme of Colts fans, I guess.
Yep.
If you do go back to AR, doesn't that create a sense to other people, to other fan bases, of more silliness because they don't know what they're doing because they can't decide what they want? Because yes, you have the one season with Matt Ryan where we switch between Sam and Matt and all these different people where we switch around, right? But this is different because if you switch back to AR, you're switching back to someone you already had starting with, who you had controversy with before, but now that controversy kind of has to disappear, even though in reality it's still there because you benched him in the first place, but you're only doing it because, Joe isn't doing well, so you're our second option.
I think that the league I think that most people would be more understanding of this because of all the things that I have mentioned about Flacco. There is no future in Flacco. There is only win now. If you're talking about win now, the current records between the quarterbacks when starting, because the Steelers game already goes to Anthony Richardson because of his start. And he actually performed better, got more production out of him in that game. Anthony Richardson is 3-3. Joe Flacco is 1-3. And so when you were talking about deciding on a quarterback who gives you the best chance to win now, based on what has happened this season, Anthony Richardson wins more games. And then you put that together with the fact of he is your 4th overall draft pick. that is still under contract for 2 more years, and you have to figure out if he can be the guy or not, and you need to know that sooner rather than later. I was never in favor of switching to Joe in the first place, but now, without a doubt, you have to switch. You cannot keep doing this because the next game is against the Jets. And even if Flacco can manage to do that, which is more possible than any of the other games that he has started other than the Jaguars, it still doesn't mean that Flacco is the guy. It still doesn't mean he can get it done in the tough moments because it's the Jets, and the Jets are what the Jets are this year.
Yeah.
If he loses that one, I think it's an absolute no-brainer, but then you're throwing Anthony Richardson in to play the Lions.
It's true.
It's tough. It's tough, So with that in mind, I have one question for you. Is this year the same, better, or worse than 2022?
I think it's a little bit better because during the games this year, I still have hope because I believe we are a good football team. I think just things aren't clicking and our coaches aren't necessarily doing what they should be doing, which are all theoretically easy things to fix. The coach's mindset just needs to switch. And I think the other things will follow if the mindset is a flip. But 2022, after a certain point, after all the quarterback changes, I was like, what are we doing? What is our team doing? I have no faith. So I think it's a little bit better, but record-wise, it's shaping out pretty similar.
As long as nothing disastrous happens from this point, it should be better. But who knows what that will look like? What's your Mayflower move from this game?
It's an early one. We brought it up a couple of times. The pick 6.
All right.
Don't think there's much explanation needed behind that.
I'm going to say, going back to the coaching, the 4th down decision with 3 minutes left in the third quarter. Yes, there's 3 minutes left in the third quarter, but once again, you're only down 1 touchdown. I understand that down 4 theoretically is no different than down 7, but you never know how that is going to shake out at the end, and points are points, and field position is field position. Go for the points, and if nothing else, field position is about the same, right? You may have pinned them a little bit deeper if, they get a touchback and it's to the 30, but at least you get 3 points out of it. At least you get 3 points. If you don't and you come away with nothing, what did you end up with? I know hindsight is 20/20. I get it. But you're already behind the 8 ball. Just pick up points where you can. To me, this exemplifies the bad play calling that has been going on, because if you rotate quarterbacks and you rotate players and nothing changes, then what's the answer?
Coaching. Yep.
Or hire. GM, owner, all of it.
It's true.
Who's your star of the game then?
I think there are a lot of people who could go to. I think Zaire had a massive presence in this game. Didn't show up a ton on the stat sheet, but still had a good presence. Obviously, Nick Cross. Nick Cross had a pretty good game. Kenny had a good game. EJ had a good game. A lot of people on the defense had a good game, which means it wasn't the defensive fault. Although, I'm going to give it to the offense because I am an offensive player myself. I am not afraid to admit that. I could give it to Pierce or Mitchell. I'm not going to give it to either. I'm going to give it to my guy, JT.
I knew it.
If he had a touchdown, it was a guaranteed. I was thinking about it. It was either Mitchell or JT for me. because Mitchell had his best game this season. He showed up pretty big, but JT's my guy. He had over 100. I said he needed a big game. He had it on the yardage, just couldn't capitalize on the end zone. Didn't really have a chance to be honest. So, yeah. Who's yours?
Okay, I'm not afraid to give it to the other team when they win the game, but there were a lot of good players for the Colts in this game, so I'm actually going to get a twofer. I'm going to give it to the slot corners.
Okay.
I'm going to give it to Kenny Moore for 7 tackles, 2 pass defense, 1 interception, and I'm going to give it to Trey Johnson for a sack, TFL, QB hit, 2 pass defense, and an interception. Both of them played a really good game all over where they needed to be. So.
Yep. Yeah. One last note, though.
Yep.
At 4-6, which is what the Colts currently are.
Yep.
And the Broncos losing to the Chiefs, which is upsetting, but it's fine. The Colts are still 1 game out of the playoffs. And on this, I'm going to add a little bit of a question. What are your thoughts on that, on being still 1 game out, even though we haven't performed the best lately?
It means it means the Colts still have a chance if they do the right thing and do what we said several times throughout this game, put AR in the game. That's all we have for today. We'll be back tomorrow with our update from the South. This week, we'll have our Pick 6 prediction show, fantasy stable look at Colts players, stats, and projections, and our preview of the Colts in Indiana Knights uniforms hosting the Lions.
Yep, this is Liam.
And this is Kevin.
Reminding you to stay all in Colts.
All in Sports Network. We love sports.